Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Triboro Podcast, episode 115. Not the COD song. I'm your host, Justin Alonso, joined by Nicholas O'Brien, who is now dangling his arm off the ledge as well.
I am unwell. I'm not happy.
I think that is the understatement of the season.
Very, uh, man, man, I don't want to say too much, but it's just like, you knew it was probably happening. It was like, a slow motion disaster, but like the fact that it happened is still kind of like, really?
It's like seeing a car crash in slow motion.
Yeah,
You see it coming, and you know there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah. And don't worry, I'm not crying because of that. It's chlorine in my eyes.
Yeah.
So don't worry. But, yeah,
Your mascara is
not
dripping.
happy. Yeah. I hope you're doing better.
Yes and no. Kind of. Yankees wise, yes.
Yankees wise. There you go.
But, anyways, I'll explain why I'm doing Yankees wise better in the Bronx.
Now entering the Bronx.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back into the Bronx, where we got a lot of playoff stuff to talk about. But first, before anything, your injury update brought to you by the Triboro MD. Jazz Chisholm has lost the ability to bear children after fouling off a ball into his nutsack. I'm mostly kidding, but that looked incredibly painful. Looked so and you could just tell the rest of that bat. He kind of just phoned it in. He's like, "No,
Yeah, fuck it.
I'm
I
get
need
me
to
out of
sit
this,
down.
dude. Get me out of this." I think that what is it? 52% of the population is male, or is it the other way around?
It's probably the other way around.
I think 48% of the population can agree with his struggle.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but congrats to Jazz being the third. I forget if it's the third Yankee ever to go 40 or 30-30 or the fourth time it's ever happened. I want to say it's the fourth time it ever happened with Granderson doing it twice, but third Yankee doing it. Yeah, because I think it was Granderson and Bobby Bonds that did it for Yankees. Fact check me on that. But I'm pretty sure it was those two. Awesome season by Jazz. You could tell that he was very much so pressing to try and get that 30th home run. Now you can see just that weight's been off him. And even then, the home run was in a big spot. It was in the game on Friday night against the Orioles. They were down 3-0, two-run shot, made it a one-run game. Then bullpen ended up coming up, and there ended up being like a bunch of like bullshit, whatever. They ended up losing that game, the only game against the Orioles. They did lose, but I'm not going to talk much about the games themselves. The little bit that I am going to talk about it, you took 5 out of 7. Good, solid week. Had to do the bare minimum. The first Twins game, I don't know if I'll give them a pass, but I kind of also will, because you had a Sunday night baseball game to then travel to Minnesota to then play a night game. It's just weird because there is something to the scheduling that the Yankees do get screwed by being the Yankees, because teams don't want to have that getaway game be a day game, because they're like, no, we want as much. The Yankees are coming to town. We want to make as much money as we can. And there are things where I am not sure if this is accurate or how accurate, but I've heard people say that the road team can request that the game gets moved up from like a 7 o'clock game to a 1 o'clock game. And then the home team has the ability to either grant that request or decline that request. Not sure how
I. What'd
you say?
If that wasn't a thing, that would be pretty smart.
Pretty sure that's how it works. Again, not 100%. But it is a thing of, why would any team playing, call it the Yankees, Dodgers, Red Sox, ever say yes to that?
Yeah.
You know what
Also,
I
I
mean?
have the 30-30 seasons for you. So it was Bobby Bonds in 75, and then Alfonso Soriano twice,
Soriano. That's what. Back
2002,
to back years. Yep.
2003. Yep. And now Mr. Jazz.
What? Okay, whatever. I don't know how I.
Granderson was
Granderson.
close. He had 25 stolen bases in one season. That was his highest.
Okay. Yeah, and one of Soriano's was 40-40 too. So,
Mhm.
um yeah, where was I? Yeah, so it is like a weird element of this travel being a thing because they literally got killed. They got blown out of Minnesota the first game. You could just tell they were exhausted, and that was also a storyline. I forget where they were going. I want to say going into Boss. No, I forget where it was, but there was a story of them coming home, and like Carlos Rodon not getting home until like 8 in the morning,
Right.
and I think they landed in Baltimore at 3:30 in the morning. I want to say. So it's like, yeah, travel's going to be an element, but at the same time, like the fact that they've had this many night games on getaway days and not even having a getaway day, because there was another thing I heard that the Red Sox had 4 games this year to start a series against the Yankees. 4 different games, 4 different series, where the Red Sox either were not traveling or had the day off before the day they played the Yankees, and the Yankees did not have that.
Yeah.
So and I'm just saying the Red Sox because I heard it being mentioned with the Red Sox. So that's why I'm using. So there's a lot to the whole travel thing of like, what the fuck are we doing with it?
Yeah.
Like, let's be a little reasonable. It is what it is. They got through it. Not gonna have to deal with that in the playoffs. Then the Orioles series, you took 3 out of 4. That's what you do. It's hard to sweep a 4-game series. Hard to sweep a 4-game series on the road. Even harder to sweep it against a divisional rival. I don't care how bad the Orioles are on the year. They probably make the playoffs if the season started after the All-Star break.
Yeah, if the season started in like June.
Yeah,
I
like
think,
they've
June
been
onwards, they're at least above 500.
they've been a solid team since June.
Yeah.
So this isn't the Orioles of like you were alluding to April and May. So it's just God shocker you don't get pitching, your team's gonna suck. But whoever would have thought. Then getting
By the way,
into
the Orioles, really quick, just to
yeah
stamp it, the Orioles are 52-47 since June.
yeah
So
yeah. So that's fighting for what
much
second,
better.
third wild card.
Yeah.
Even they agree, they know ball.
Dogs don't
But
fall.
recap on the playoffs because so much has fucking happened
Big
in this last week.
series in Houston.
Oh my god. Not even just
Shout out my
Houston.
Mariners.
Not even just Houston. Everyone. Because you had I'll just mention the Mariners now because you mentioned them. The Mariners swept the Astros in Houston. Now Houston is 3 games back in the division. Call it 3.5 because I'm pretty sure the Mariners have the tiebreaker
They
now.
have the tiebreaker now. Yep.
So that seems locked up. I don't want to
For the
say
most part.
yes, but the Mariners also are one of the historically biggest choking teams in baseball history or in sports history. So we can't say it's locked up until it's actually locked up. Astros, who fucking knows what's going on with them? For the last like couple weeks, they've just been so up and down, up and down, up and
Fire
down.
sale. Fire sale. Fire sale.
Are you saying they need to?
I said they needed to after Kyle Tucker. That's been my take since the offseason. I thought they were gonna like retool or rebuild, and then they traded for Carlos Correa at the trade deadline. So
My
the hell do
counterpoint is
know?
I think this Astros team, given the right circumstances, can catch lightning in a bottle. And
guess.
I will get more into that later. But the Tigers are. I don't even
Talk
know
about
how to
collapse.
explain what they're doing, dude. Like, this is like one of those videos you'll watch of like buildings getting exploded. The like controlled explosions they'll do. Oh my god. They're 1-10. They're 1-9 in the last 10. Cleveland is 10-1 in the last 10. You take out the last game they just played where they lost, and they were on a 10-game win streak.
Yeah.
The Guardians have the tiebreaker, so they are now half a game behind Detroit when you think about it that way.
With series starting tomorrow.
Yes.
So there's your division right there.
And I'm pretty sure the Guardians play the Rangers that last series, and the Rangers, again, unless something absurd happens, are not going to be in the playoffs then. So, because don't they have to like
play the Rangers?
Don't they have to like win out, and then like the other teams have to lose out or something?
Let me pull up the standings.
Yeah, well, you pull up the standings, but they came out of nowhere. The Guardians, they really just did, and you look up and down this Guardians roster, like it doesn't make sense.
Jose Ramirez and who?
I'll get more into that later, because the way that I kind of broke this down is what?
The Rangers are 5 games back.
Yeah, so they literally have to win out. The 2 teams ahead of them have to lose out.
Yeah, so yeah, Astros and Guardians are currently tied for the last spot.
Yeah, which is crazy that the Astros may not make the playoffs. But
I know. That's insane.
Anyways, I will kind of get more into why I'm doing it this way and like why I chose kind of like a couple of guys, because it looks like the Yankees aren't going to win the division. They still can. What?
It's I don't know. I mean, like, this is kind of where you want it in the last week.
My counterpoint is that the Blue Jays have 6 games at home and they're 50-25 at home.
Fair enough.
And the Blue Jays, if they win 4 games, they win the division regardless of what the Yankees do.
What's the Blue Jays schedule?
They play the Red Sox and I believe the Tigers. No, Boston plays Tigers. Yeah, Boston plays Tigers.
Yeah.
And all 6 of those games are at home in Toronto, where they are one of the best home teams in baseball.
I mean, the Red Sox got Crochet lined up for a start, so if they just need to take one more there, then the Rays could play spoiler.
But then you're also asking the Yankees to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, against the White Sox. You have to sweep the White Sox.
It's also a thing of it's baseball.
Yeah, no,
it is so hard to win 6 games in a row.
For sure.
And this would actually be 8 games in a row if you include the 2 from the Orioles series.
Right, so it's not impossible, still improbable.
Exactly.
14% chance.
Yeah, that would be asking them to win 10 of their last 11 to end the season.
Crazier things have happened.
I know. I'm just saying it's very, very tough, because you look at the week that happened. The Blue Jays went 3-4. They lost 4 to the Rays and Royals. Red Sox went 3-3. Yankees went 5-2. I mentioned Blue Jays guarantee the division. So it looks like the Yankees are not going to be playing, or not going to be having a bye. Even if the Yankees did have a bye, they'd be probably playing one of these wildcard teams. So you look at the 4 teams that I kind of penciled in for who they're playing, because I think the Mariners, they kind of locked up the division. I don't think the Yankees are going to be playing the Mariners. So I put down the Tigers, Guardians, Astros, and Red Sox for just the 4 teams they could be playing. Did a little bit of research into the teams, a little bit of research into lineups, bullpens, rosters, starting rotations, all that. And I will rank them in the order after of which ones I would like to play, but I'm just kind of doing it by division. So, firstly, you got the Central. You got the Tigers and the Guardians. That are the 2 teams that you can play there. You look at the Tigers, you got the potential Cy Young winner in Tariq Skubal. Probably won't win it. Probably going to be the runner-up for that. Then you have 2 guys in Mize and Flaherty that have given the Yankees fits throughout the season. And it's a thing of Skubal. He also got taken out with a left side injury, but then made his next start. So I doubt the Tigers would have let him make that start if it was anything even remotely serious.
Yeah.
Like, if it was even 0.5% nagging him before that start, they would not have pitched him. So I don't think that's anything serious. Maybe something just keep in the back of your mind. Mize and Flaherty have been very, very weird against the Yankees, where they're the Charlie Morton to the Mets. They will either shut you down or you will light them up. No in between for them. You got the 5th best bullpen ERA in baseball, which, like, yeah, that's really good. But then you also consider they have the most innings pitched by 39 in MLB. So the 5th best while having the biggest sample size by a wide margin. Take that for what you will. Then, you want to hear a crazy stat? Granted, I think like 1 and 2 of these guys aren't qualified, but they have 9 hitters with a WRC plus above 100.
Jeez.
You want to hear something crazier? No one qualified above 120.
This is just like a better version of the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, the Reds, I feel like are littered with solid players.
Do you know who has the
Outside
highest
of, like,
WRC
Ellie.
plus on them this year?
I'm gonna guess Carpenter,
You're never going to guess this. He's an old
Oh.
friend.
an old friend. Is it Glaber? Oh shit! Is he like? Is he qualified?
I don't
is
think
it,
he's qualified. I think he
oh
has
my God.
97 games.
Jemiah Jones.
Jemiah
right?
Jones has,
Yeah.
I think it was either 153 or 154 WRC plus on the year.
That's insane.
And 90 something games.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
I remember when the Mets faced him. I'm like, he's hitting what?
yeah.
His OPS is
Yeah, when he was the lead off. Oh, no, you're talking about this year. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was talking about last year. But, yeah, Jemiah Jones is ripping
Shout
the
out
cover off
Jemiah
of baseball.
Jones.
Does not make any sense why he's doing that. But
CP's unethical.
overall, wouldn't hate facing the Tigers just because they are limping into the postseason.
Yeah, that too. Even without that, I do think they're beatable. Like, very beatable.
And I'm also a lot less scared of the Tigers in Yankee Stadium. Because we also have to realize a big part of this is all 3 games will be at Yankee Stadium if the Yankees do play on Wild Card weekend, barring something drastic. Because they have a 3-game lead over Boston for the first Wild Card spot. Granted, it's 2.5 because Boston has tiebreaker, whatever, but the Red Sox also do play the Blue Jays and the Tigers, so there's a realistic chance that Boston doesn't even make the playoffs because they're only 1 game ahead of the teams behind them.
Right. Yeah.
That was the Tigers. Let me check one thing because I forgot to mention it. I thought I had it pulled up, but I didn't. Go on.
Another thing I like for the Yankees against the Tigers is you're throwing Max Fried and Carlos Rodon.
Mhm.
A lot of the best hitters on the Tigers are lefties. Parker Meadows, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, Zach McKinstry is like kind of utility guy, but a lot of them are lefties. So you only have like Glaber and Torkelson, I think, are kind of like the big righty boppers. Besides that, a lot of their best hitters are lefties.
And another thing I will say is when the Tigers took the series against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, that felt like the most fluky series win of all time. I don't know about you, but it just was like 2 or 3 guys in the bullpen not getting an out in an inning. That's like the most fluky thing you'll ever see. So
Yeah.
I'm not putting too much stock into it, especially because the Yankees were playing very well, very well, very well. A little bit of a skid, very well, very well, very well. It was kind of one blip on the radar.
Yeah.
And going on to the Guardians, they have 3 guys with a WRC plus above 100. Stephen Kwan just barely makes it across the finish line at 102. You have...
This is an unethical baseball team.
Oh my god, dude. They have a -9 run differential.
Unethical.
Gavin Williams is great. But who else in that rotation is like...
Yeah, Bidey has had a rough season.
Even with Gavin Williams, his underlying numbers are not good.
Yeah.
They say that he should be giving up a lot more runs than he has.
Because he also walks too many people.
Which plays into the Yankees' favor.
Right.
But they do, and I think the scariest part of Cleveland is they do have the best bullpen ERA in baseball by a healthy margin.
Class A.
Without Class A.
Without Class A for like half the year.
2.57 ERA, second best is 3.11.
Yeah.
It is also a thing of, you could say without Class A, the Yankees beat the brakes off Class A last postseason.
Yeah.
So, if anything, it's a guy that the Yankees had to, because say as much as you want about Clase, but there is a thing to the fact of it does not matter how good you are. If a team is the wrong matchup for you, you most likely will not succeed, especially if you're pitching maybe 2 times in a 3-game set. So, in Class A, like, it's not even just last postseason. You look at his career against the Yankees, and it is blown save after blown save after blown save, blown save, blown save, blown save, over and over and over and over again. So that's where the Guardians stand, and all that. Then you got the Astros, which I have no idea how to feel about this team, because you have a very scary lineup. But the guy that absolutely killed you in Houston, even though you won the series, was Jordan Alvarez, and he will not be playing. You have Josh Hader, who God knows if he's going to pitch, because they say he's out for the rest of the regular season. About, what was it, like the beginning of August, they said out for the regular season, but then he should pitch in the postseason. But it's also a thing of when will he pitch in the postseason if he does pitch in the postseason. How much are they going to trust him? How big of a leash? Yada, yada, yada. But were you going to say something?
I did not realize how much they've been hit by the injury bug. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pitchers.
But a little bit more in that lineup, like, I was really breaking down the Astros lineup because, again, this is not a perfect science when I say this, but the Astros are a very right-handed team. And they play with one of the probably the most friendly ballpark in baseball varieties.
I'd probably say
maybe Fenway,
looking,
just because doubles machine.
Yeah.
But I'd probably still lean Houston. And out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 of their best hitters, and Pena, Paredes, Walker, Altuve, and Correa, how many opposite field home runs do you think they have this year?
Oof.
Out of 5 guys. Pause. 5.
Wow.
Pena has 1.
Each?
Paredes had 0. Shocker. Walker had 2. Altuve had 1. Correa had 1.
Wow.
Granted, Altuve and Correa do not give a shit when they're playing at Yankee Stadium. They will hit 500-foot home runs. Yeah. But it is a thing of this is not a good matchup ballpark-wise for the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is part of the benefit of it being a 3-game set at Yankee Stadium. Because the Yankees have, 1, never played a 3-game set with fans in attendance, and 2, never played a 3-game set at Yankee Stadium for the playoffs. So the only time they ever did was when they played the Guardians in 2020. So they've never played in a wild card weekend with actual fans in attendance for the actual 3-game set. So we don't know how they're going to look. We don't know the angles to look at. So having it as a 3-game home series, I think made so much of a difference between it being on the road, especially if you have to play the Red Sox. But the last 2 things about the Astros before I get into them, the rotation scares me but doesn't. Hunter Brown's been awesome this year. You made Frambler your bitch. You made him and his catcher essentially get into a fist fight. Not really. But then Christian Javier, maybe. This also, his first couple months coming back from Tommy John. He's killed the Yankees in the past. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think you're more likely to see a bullpen type of game than I think one of Javier or even Jason Alexander, who's been starting for them. I feel like a bullpen game is probably more likely than one of those 2 guys having like a full start.
Which I will say, 8th best bullpen ERA, but the 6th fewest amount of innings. So they haven't really used the bullpen that much compared to other teams in baseball. Then going on to the Red Sox. Oh, buddy. I'll give a little bit of a spoiler. This is the team I least want to face. You have 8 hitters with a WRC plus above 100, and you could even lump in Carlos Narvaez there because he has a 96. He's a catcher. That's awesome for a catcher. So, argument's sake, lump him into that
catcher
argument.
Points.
Yeah. Well, this is the only time I'm going to be giving catcher points. Only player. But this is the scariest 1-2-3 rotation the Yankees could face. In Garrett Crochet, Brian Bello, Lucas Giolito. Because Garrett Crochet, The Yankees hit him one time, and that was when he had a 6-0 lead, and he was just throwing the ball into the zone nonstop. And even then, it was only 2 home runs. It wasn't like they were stringing together rallies. And granted, that's how you beat those type of pitchers. But that, Brian Bello, granted, they did beat him, but he had like one of the best starts to a career against the Yankees in baseball history for a lot of it. Lucas Giolito, I think, went 7 scoreless this year at Yankee Stadium. So, the way you beat this Red Sox team is you gotta work those fucking counts. 7th worst bullpen ERA in baseball and having 10th most innings. Do not have a good bullpen. But they do have a very good back end of the bullpen. You can make a stronger. They have the best back end of the bullpen in all of baseball in Aroldis Chapman. So for the Red Sox, if you could keep those starters to 5 innings at a max and then make Boston have to figure out 6, 7, 8, that is how you beat the Red Sox in the playoff series. Granted, you could just absolutely shell Giolito or Bello, but even then, at the same time, like, you still got to figure out those couple of innings are where you make the money. You cannot go into the 9th inning down. Tied, maybe. Down, hell no. And I will say, so much better that these games would most likely be at Yankee Stadium rather than Fenway, because I hate that stupid horn that blares when they get strikeouts. I hate that dumbass mascot. I hate that entire goddamn team. That stupid fucking ballpark that was made in the 1400s before America was colonized. Like, the dumbest place on fucking earth. And they talk like fucking assholes.
You know, legends say that when Christopher Columbus discovered America, that Fenway Park was already there.
Let's just say when the Vikings came here in the 1000, Fenway Park was already there.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think the Red Sox are probably the most troubling team that the Yankees would need to face in this wild card series, and I don't think it's particularly close.
Oh, look at me. We have a poll that we can send our names on. That's 302 feet away from home plate. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. But my rankings of kind of where I would like the Yankees to play. And I was very torn for my 1-2 between the Guardians and Tigers. Because the Guardians are the worst team, but they're on fire.
Yeah.
But then again, we've also seen a lot of times where teams will go on fire into the playoffs and then just
they're getting hot at like just the wrong time, like a week and a half too early.
Yeah. So don't know what they're gonna be. I put the Tigers second because you can make the same argument on the flip side of they have been bad. It's not even a thing of the last like week or two. No, they've been treading water since June. Like, they really have not been as dominant since like June, July. They've just kind of been treading water. And they've almost been kind of lackadaisical. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they didn't really make drastic upgrades at the trade deadline. I know they got Morton, right?
Who they DFA'd.
Exactly. Don't think they got anyone for the lineup unless I'm just completely blanking.
No, I'm pretty sure they didn't. I'm pretty sure Morton was supposed to be like their big get, and again, they DFA'd him the other day. But no, you're right. They are 47-50 since June.
Yeah. So who
treading
knows?
water is probably the best way to put it.
They also, it's not going to be in Detroit, and I hate playing in that place. Just because it's such a massive ballpark. And then third, I would put the Astros. Fourth, I would put the Red Sox. That being said, I kind of want to play the Astros. Just because I think if you were gonna slay that dragon, a 3-game set at Yankee Stadium this year with no Yordan, Josh Hader at most in a minimized capacity, is when you do it. Is how you do it. Especially when you have no idea who the hell is going to start that third game for them. And even then, Frambler, you've had a lot of success against. Hunter Brown, you're going to have Max Fried going off against. So at least you're going to have an even pitching matchup there.
Yeah.
What would your rankings be? Because I just rambled.
Yeah, I think I would go the Tigers personally, and this is coming more from an objective
Mm-hmm.
standpoint, not seeing how each team plays each other like day in day out. I would probably want to face the Tigers out the gate. I just think they're beatable. Like I like the Tigers, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure I had them if I wasn't stupid and picked the Twins to win the division. I think I had them second. But like again, they are the Cincinnati of the AL, and that's not really like a diss, but it's just they have a lot of solid players, but they don't really have any stars. Again, like you said, they have 9 players of a WRC plus over 100, and what'd you say?
No one
One?
above 120. No one
Yeah,
qualified.
no one qualified above 120. It's a lot of 115s, 110s. So,
Jemiah Jones.
right, it's a good team, but
It's not
look,
elite.
they're missing.
They're
Yeah,
not
they're not
elite
elite
like they
by any
were the
means.
first 2.5 months of the season.
Not even close. And look, Tariq Skubal, obviously you don't want to face him. But after you get through Skubal, and on the off chance you can beat Skubal, and you could take that game, which would be the first game, again, none of these guys scare me. Casey Mize, he's having a good year, but beatable. Jack Flaherty sucks. Their bullpen is going to be taxed. And they like playing matchups a lot, but at the same time, that's starting to bite them in the butt now. It's kind of like a little bit of over managing. So again, coming into it, I just think this team is really beatable, and especially limping into the playoffs, you can probably catch them at the right time.
And side note, Jack Flaherty, do not look up his numbers in New York in the postseason. They are
Right.
horrible for both when he played against the Yankees and the Mets in New York.
Yeah.
Um,
Then after that, I think I would just go Guardians, Red Sox. Like I think we both agree
Astros.
the Red Sox. Oh, I forgot. Astros, I'd probably put above Red Sox, below Guardians. So I'd go Tigers, Guardians, Red Sox, Astros, Red Sox.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
For like I said, for me, Guardians and Tigers are very similar. The only reason I wouldn't say Tigers is just because of Tariq Skubal.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because like going into a playoff series, you need to win that Max Fried game. You just have to.
Yeah.
He's your ace, especially in a 3-game set. That's what you paid him for. Yada yada yada. So going up against Crochet or Skubal is the hardest it's going to be to win that game one.
Yeah, for sure.
So
but even if you don't, I still like their chances of winning 2-3 against like some like the Tigers, not necessarily the Red Sox, but the Tigers again because you're facing Casey Mize and Jack Flaherty. Probably.
my only thing is I have no idea what the, and this is a good segue, what the hell you're doing with that third starter spot for the Yankees. Yeah. It is the most mystery box thing of all time. I truly have no idea who you're going to go. Because Cam Schlittler had an incredible outing against the Orioles. And Luis Gil and Schlittler both looked bad against the Twins in their start. So I don't know who you're going to go. It may just be a matchup thing. Like,
I mean, it's tough because Gil and Schlittler are kind of similar, very fastball dominant, and then you get the off speed / breaking stuff. They're very similar pitches. So the only thing Schlittler has over Gil is probably just upper end velocity, which if that team struggles against that, then there you go. But if you're going matchup based, I think you're kind of splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah. It's just I don't know who you go with. Because it's also a thing that Luis Gil has pitched in the postseason. It hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been good. So I don't even. Yeah. It's also been very minimal experience. So I don't even know if you can make the experience argument.
Right. I think personally, I think it's Schlittler.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think you can easily just piggyback or like have a quick hook on him. Like if he gives up a run, 2 runs in the first 2 innings, he's out.
My only thing with piggybacking is you're asking those two guys to do something they've never done before in what would be a winner takes all game.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, it's winner takes all. So you
No,
gotta.
I know, but it's just a thing of a lot of starters, if they've never done that before, that is a very weird experience for them.
No, for
Then you
sure.
add in the
I
adrenaline
completely
of the
get that.
postseason of 50,000 crowd fans going absolutely fucking nuclear.
Yeah. I think, honestly, Schlittler probably will. I feel like he would transition into a quote unquote bullpen role probably better than Heel would.
Yeah,
He just like
the
I
stuff.
look at him, yeah, and the stuff it just screams reliever.
Mhm.
So I feel like he would transition to that pretty.
At least for this year. At least for
Yeah.
next year, I think it's a different story. But this year, I think I probably agree with you, especially because Luis Heel kind of lost a tick or two on his fastball.
Right.
And I really want to see Cam Schlittler with postseason adrenaline.
I
Oh,
I guarantee you're gonna see like a couple 102s.
I was thinking you, dude. If he's also a reliever, do we see 103?
Ah, if it's like, and if he knows he's pitching 1 inning, maybe.
Dude, the adrenaline. I could see it, but
No, I know.
who knows? That's also probably one of those decisions that they're gonna tell both guys that just be ready for it.
Yeah.
And they're probably not going to announce that starter until a potential game 3.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Ideally,
Neither.
you don't need a game
Yeah,
3
ideally it's
starter
neither.
until the LDS, which then you figure it out then. But,
Yeah. And then even ideally only one of them pitches.
right,
But
exactly.
anyways, that's that. Then a very interesting thing that I thought, because the bullpen's probably going to figure itself out. They're probably going to either not have Blackburn or Yarbrough on the postseason roster. It just depends.
Which
What?
I mean, which is like nothing.
That's what I mean. I was gonna say even
Yeah.
then, I think that although we're probably gonna pitch the same amount of innings as the one that does stay on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm not even gonna like go into the nitty gritty of that because I don't think there is much really to debate about, and even that there is to debate about isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But the last spot for the offense is a lot more interesting than you would think. Top of your head, don't look at it. Who do you think doesn't make the roster?
I think it will depend on the team that you're facing. But I could see like Austin Slater being left off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're facing, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like, if you're facing the Tigers, you might want him to face Scooble. If you're facing the Red Sox, you might want him to face Crochet. But if you're facing the Guardians, you can leave him off. So my bet would probably be Slater.
I put 5 names on here. I think one of them is a near lock to make it, just not in a solidified role. And then the other 4, I had no idea. I think Jose Caballero, lock to make it.
For sure.
Don't know where he's going to be. Because another name I have on here is Anthony Volpe. You got the other 3,
Fair
Ahmed
enough.
Rosario, and then Jason Dominguez. And then also, obviously, Austin Slater. Because my thing is that, say that you leave on Jose Caballero. Or Jose Caballero, let's say, is the starting shortstop. Then Anthony Volpe and Jason Dominguez are almost redundant. To a degree.
I think more so Volpe than Dominguez.
That I agree with that too, but then say that you go with Volpe as a starting shortstop, or they want to do a thing where they play matchups with Caballero and Volpe. I don't see how Dominguez gets on this roster, because even then you have Caballero, Slater, Judge, Grisham, Bellinger, Stanton that have all played the outfield this year. So I don't see how they could put a guy on that would be a 7th outfielder.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think about that. I think
That's what I mean. I was breaking it down. I don't see where Jason Dominguez fits into this postseason roster because you're not playing him against a righty because your outfield is going to be Judge, Bellinger, and Grisham. You're not
right.
taking any of those three guys out for Jason Dominguez, and God knows he's not facing a lefty.
And he's not going to be a defensive replacement.
He's not a defensive replacement. I don't know where he fits into this roster.
Yeah.
And that hurts me to say, and it sucks. And I probably would find a way to keep him on this roster for no other reason other than just the speed, because he's a great base runner.
Yeah.
But if you traded for all these guys at the deadline for the sake of being a lot more balanced, for having a lot more just the ability to play matchups, I don't see how he fits.
Yeah. And even if you want to like go the speed route, Austin Slater is not that much slower than Dominguez. Austin Slater runs at I think it's feet per second, 28 flat feet per second, and then Jason Dominguez 28.7.
Mm-hmm.
So like noticeable, but like it's not that much different. Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't.
Because then you also get into the argument of that player, whoever that is, may not even play that much. And wouldn't you almost rather have Dominguez just because you think he's the future?
I guess, but then like on the off chance you need him to bat, are you comfortable with him batting?
This overall is the point that I'm trying to make. That is a
Yeah.
much more interesting decision than people are really realizing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the way that this is trending, I don't see how him and Volpe both are on this postseason roster.
Yeah.
Because my only thing with Volpe is that if he's not on this roster, you don't have anyone else that can play shortstop in a game if Caballero gets hurt.
Yeah. And he could also be your speed off the bench.
That too.
I think it could be matchup based still. I think I could definitely see a more lefty driven opponent being Slater, and then if there's more righties, Dominguez.
Yeah. Because I also do think Ahmed Rosario is a much bigger lock than we think to make this roster.
I think so as
Because
well.
they do not want to face McMahon against a lefty.
Yeah.
So Rosario is essentially going to have to play unless they want to do Caballero at third and then Volpe at short.
Right. Which I wouldn't think would be ideal.
I don't either. The only thing is Rosario is calling him a butcher is disrespectful to butchers.
Yeah.
So
he's there to bat. That's all.
He's there to hit fucking tanks, even though he doesn't hit tanks.
Ahmed Rosario.
No,
2025. Holy crap.
It's
it's definitely tough. I do think it's going to come back down to matchups, and look, there's a week left of games. Like not saying anything, but things happen.
Yeah. I know
these things figure itself out. That's all I'm saying.
Implication. It's gonna be interesting because
for sure.
Obviously the Yankees, they got 3 against the White Sox and 3 against the Orioles. They're off today. Gonna be a lot of scoreboard watching tomorrow. Who knows? Because in the span of a week, so much changed that I did not think was even had a shot in hell to change.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be crazy. Last thing I want to do is that the Orioles series was almost a series that had like so many milestones because Jazz won 30-30. Stan hit his 450th home run. Max Fried had tied his career high in strikeouts. I didn't even mention that. Absurd big balls performance from him. Carlos Rodon had a phenomenal start against the Orioles as well. Ben Rice, big grand slam in extras. And Judge is also at 49 home runs right now, so he almost hit 50 home runs in that series. So it's almost a series where you had like how many milestones that were being achieved?
Yeah.
So
every other day.
Yeah, not even every day. So who knows? The things to watch if you're a Yankee fan for the next week are all the other standings, obviously, who they're going to play, and then how they want to figure out this third spot in the rotation. Because we didn't even mention his name, but I don't think there is a shot in hell Will Warren gets it. I would be shocked if he's on the. Sorry about that. I would be shocked if they move on and he's the fourth starter. I could see them using him out of the bullpen, but I would be shocked if he is just in there in the rotation.
Yeah.
So just seeing who gets that last spot in the rotation and then who makes the cut for that last spot on the bench. Because that is a much more difficult decision than it looks like on paper, as we just went over.
Observe.
That's all I got. If you had nothing else, take us away.
Yeah, that's really it. I think you summed it up pretty well, so let's go to Queens, I guess.
Yeah.
Now entering Queens.
Really? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Queens, where I'm a flustered and unwell man.
That's so dumb. It's
As we sit here today on Monday, September 22nd, the season ended today, or if the season ended yesterday on Sunday, the 2025 New York Mets would miss the playoffs due to the tiebreaker with the Cincinnati Reds. I am at a loss for words. I said it in the intro where, it was one thing to think like, wow, this could happen and like, this sucks and they could really miss the playoffs. And then it basically happens. Yes, there's a week left of games, but again, if it ended today, they wouldn't make it. So then it happens and you're kind of like, wow, what do you mean this team's going to miss the playoffs? How is this team going to miss the playoffs? But Justin, I would like to ask you again, because last week you disagreed with me. Do you think this is a bad baseball team yet?
I think Vandy and Barney have their opinions, and they're trying to speak it now. I'm very sorry if that gets picked up again. I have no idea if it is.
Ever so slightly.
Ever so slightly, because it sounds like bombs are going off upstairs. The more and more I look at this Mets team, it feels like a lot of pieces that were kind of just glued together, and then like a thing of paint was put on over them.
Go on. Explore that thought.
Or it just feels like a lot of jumbled pieces that were guys coming from completely different places. 'Cause obviously you had the big money contract on Soto. Brought in a starter or two. You brought back Minaya, who, no disrespect to Minaya, has never been like this top end guy. He's always been a solid guy. Bringing Frankie Montas was been like, I don't know.
Right. Swing and a miss.
Bringing Clay Holmes was another guy that good stuff. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You trade for 3 new guys at the bullpen who have two of them have been absolutely insane in their careers, with another one being pretty good. All come from different areas, and all 3 of them are expiring contracts, correct?
Correct.
It just feels a little too patchworky.
I can't exactly disagree. Like, I do, but I don't, because at the same time, this is a very similar team to last year.
Because I can't really... You have your core offensively.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, you have 4 guys that you love. And even then, Nimmo's been like... and then you have a bunch of unproven guys around them. Unproven or older guys around them. Then the rotation, like, who is your ace? Like, going into it, you would think, like, oh, it's Senga. But how many injuries has he dealt with over the last couple of years? How many signs of question marks, I guess you could say, were there with him? And then you look at everyone else in the rotation, and it's like, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. But like not even like every pitcher's gonna have question marks. That's just the way it is. But pretty glaring question marks. It just seems like most of them went the way that people said, yeah, it could go this way in a negative way.
Yeah.
And like I will say, I am kind of shocked that Clay Holmes is still pitching as a starter, or has started as much as he has.
I mean, he's almost at 160 pitches.
Innings, you mean?
Innings, yeah,
I was gonna
with
say
a
it's not much.
3.69 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not nothing.
Yeah.
Like you tell me, if I told you that in December, what's your reaction?
Bullshit.
Right. Now,
But
some of the expected stuff and the underlying stuff is a little higher. You know, the FIP's 4.1, the expected ERA is 4.5, the expected FIP is 4.2.
that
But
almost
still,
Clay Holmes, in a sense, as a starter, feels like a patchwork signing. And
sure.
when you did a bunch of other patchwork signings, it's almost a thing of like, okay, there's no guy there.
Right.
And that is the
But
most unanalytical thing that I could say. But it really feels like out of, and I'm going to boil it down, 3 guys, what is this Mets identity? 4, I'll lump Diaz in there. Obviously, I was only gonna do offensive first, but like outside of 3, because I'm not even sure you could put Nimmo in there right now.
yeah, Nimmo at this rate, he is a part of the core, but at this rate, he is more of a role player. Like he's not this $20 million guy. He has a 113 WRC plus. He's gonna have about a 3 WAR season.
Because even then,
Like, that's
Pete
fine.
Pete also feels like a little bit of patchwork, just because it was just like it was a 1-year deal and 2 options, right? 2 options or 1 option?
I think just the one.
Just the 1 option, but it feels like that's just like another patch term solution or patchwork solution until we can figure it out next year.
I think that's fair to say about the pitching.
Mm-hmm.
With Pete, I would have to disagree. I think
Okay.
that's just kind of you got to bring back Pete, but
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not saying it was the wrong move.
yeah.
But I'm just saying a lot of it kind of feels like a team that's
We need a
doesn't
first baseman. All right, bring back Pete.
not even
We need the
that.
starter. Yeah, we need this.
Not even that. It just feels like a team that isn't gonna be. That's not the right word, or that's not the right phrase. I was gonna say doesn't want to be together, but isn't gonna be together for the next couple of years.
I see what you mean.
You
Okay.
kind of that's what I mean
I
by
get what you mean.
patchwork, where it's just like you have
I
so
get
many
what you
guys that are just coming in and out, and even look at
Yeah.
last year to this year, and now look how many guys most likely aren't going to be on the team next year.
Right.
And it just feels like
Especially if things don't turn around, which at this rate, I'm out.
because how many guys? It just feels like a revolving door of players,
Yeah.
and that's fine for role players when you have an identity and a solid core of 2 starters you could really rely on, 2 guys in the bullpen that you really like, then 3-4 hitters that you're very confident in.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
I
think
think this comes back to the older regimes of the Mets. Like this isn't like Dave. Let me make this clear. David Stearns has not had a good offseason, nor has he had a good trade deadline. But that doesn't mean they weren't the right moves at the time. This is a results-based game, and if we're doing that, David Stearns failed across the board. Manaea got hurt, came back bad. Montas got hurt, came back bad. Clay Holmes, solid. You know, traded for Ryan Helsley, horrible. Gregory Soto, fine. Tyler Rogers, good. Cedric Mullins, horrible. Jose Siri broke his leg, came back, can't catch a fly ball, horrible. So
I
yes, this does have a lot of blame on David Stearns. But sorry, go ahead.
I want to give him credit and say, well, a lot of it's due to injury, but outside of Jose Siri breaking his leg, it's a bunch of guys that have dealt with a lot of injuries in their career.
Yeah, like I think. I mean, I said this the other day. I was talking to my dad. It's like, Imagine this team had Griffin Canning right now, who tore his Achilles. You know, it's been things like this season has been just a
Culmination.
huge combination of bad play, underperformance, and bad luck. I know some people are gonna roll their eyes, but look, Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas. Yes, Frankie Montas is super injury prone. Sean Manaea a little less so, but still injury prone in their careers. Both get hurt before spring training. All right. Even with that, they're one of the best starting pitching teams up until June. Tyler McGill gets hurt. Again, injury prone. Now he probably needs Tommy John. Griffin Canning tore his Achilles. What? Jose Siri, not saying he would have been much better for an entire season, broke his leg in April. Just came back the other week. Francisco Lindor broke his toe. Not saying that excuses a lot of the, I guess I'll say, concerning under the hood stuff for Francisco Lindor, who is now almost 32. Brandon Nimmo, I don't know what the fuck happened to him. Francisco Alvarez is the epitome of bad luck. And then you have Max Kranick. Remember him? Tommy John. AJ Minter. Remember him? Tore his lat. Danny Young? Oh yeah, Tommy John. Denel Nunez? Oh yeah, Tommy John. Reed Garrett? He probably needs Tommy John.
Now, how much, at least for the pitching, do you think is a philosophy issue that are getting guys hurt?
I think it depends on who you're talking about, because I think Reed Garrett, I think this is just a textbook overuse.
Ticking time bomb, just
Overuse. Happened last year, got hurt, came back, pitched a lot. Happened this year, started off the season hot, pitched a lot, got hurt. Now his elbow's hanging on by a thread. AJ Minter, I think, was also just injury prone. He was dealing with issues last year as well. Max Kranick, maybe you could possibly argue he was overused as well. Nunez was hurt last year. They opted to go rehab. He rehabbed, came back, got hurt anyways. I don't want to say it's a philosophy issue. I do think it's just those are the players.
Mhm.
I think some of these players are just injury prone.
because you do worry about that when you get a whole new thing of pitching coaches. That because they also did like pretty much throughout their system, right? Got new pitching coaches, not just the majors.
Not really. I mean, they didn't get a new pitching coach in the majors. Jeremy
But
Hefner has been with the team.
my brain just killed itself. Sorry.
The minor league, they got some new pitching coaches, and I think the minor league system was overhauled.
Mhm.
So there is that. So when it comes to like Max Kranick, Denel Nunez, maybe you can argue it's a philosophy thing. But also, you just look at the state of the game.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
I only worry when you bring in because obviously, like you said, not for the majors. My brain just went spaghetti for half a second. That it is a philosophy thing if new guys are brought in. Just because I always use the Dodgers, the biggest example. I was like, oh my god, how do they have so many pitching injuries? It's almost like it's their philosophy.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so look. At the end of the day, this team just didn't live up to it. And that's on them. I think it's 60-40 players, coaches / front office. 40%, you can blame Carlos Mendoza. You can blame David Stearns. You can blame Eric Chavez. You can blame Jeremy Hefner. But at the end of the day, this offense, up until recently, has been mediocre. I understand you look at the season stat lines for a lot of these guys, like, wow, this is a really good offensive team. If you watch this team, this does not do their stats justice. it's been so Jekyll and Hyde. And I truly think a lot of the overall season stat lines come from the big games, like where they score 12 runs, 15, 10, 8, whatever. At the end of the day, this offense did not live up to the expectations. And the pitching just fell apart. David Peterson's at a career high innings. He's been really bad for the past month and a half. He went from guaranteed starting a playoff game to, even if they make it, I don't know if you can trust him in a playoff game. Now you're relying on 3 rookies, which you can argue should have been brought up sooner. So why weren't they? You could argue they should have piggybacked Mania and Clay Holmes earlier. They did it before the All-Star break and it worked. They didn't do it again until this week. And then when it worked on Tuesday, they decided to flip it on Sunday, which I don't have a huge problem with. It's just more of one of those things, like, if it ain't broke.
Why?
Yeah, it worked twice now up until this point.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. So look, you are what your record says you are. And this is a near 500 team. So I mentioned it before, but, I don't think they're making the playoffs. I'll sit here and tell you that now. I have a very tough time looking at the schedules and telling you that they can still make it. Fangraph still has them at a 50%. It's basically a coin toss at this point. But the Mets play 3 games in Chicago, 3 games in Miami. The Reds play 3 games against the Pirates at home, and then go on the road to face Milwaukee, who at that rate, just lining up their pitching.
I wouldn't be surprised if they even sign people just to eat innings. And then just DFA them right after.
Yeah. While the Mets go to Miami and they have to face Sandy Alcantara, Yuri Perez, and Edwin Cabrera.
Oh, they're 3 worst starters, right?
No, yeah, for
right.
sure. And forget about the Marlins. In Chicago, you have to face Cade Horton, who's probably winning Rookie of the Year. Has one of the best ERAs in baseballs in the second half.
Came out of fucking nowhere.
Matthew Boyd, one of the best starters this year. And Shota Imanaga, who is a really good starter. 2 of those are lefties. Who the Mets can't hit.
I feel like they had 1 year where they could hit lefties, which was like last year.
It was last year. Was the last year I can remember in the past, I don't know, 5-6 years where they were at least above average against lefties.
They were really good against lefties, right? They're like
one of the best teams.
Yeah.
One of the best teams.
If the Mets make the playoffs, and I will stand on this, it is because of 2 bats in the lineup. Who do you think those bats will be?
Soto and Pete Alonso?
Pete Alonso, and at least for the Cubs series, Starling Marte. With 2 lefties on the lineup, those 2 guys specifically need to have a monster series.
I think that's fair.
And you could even lump Vientos in there too.
I think that's fair.
Those 3 guys have to carry you in that Cubs series.
Yeah. It's so unfortunate that it's gotten to this point where the Mets no longer control their destiny. They need the Reds to lose. And I came into this weekend, I guess, thinking to myself, they need 1 sweep to feel comfortable, meaning they would have had to go 5-1. And this is when they had a 1-game lead. They are now tied. And again, with the Reds having the tiebreaker.
They're a half game back. Think about it that way.
Right, they're half game back. They almost need to go 6-0. But even then, the Reds could go 6-0 and you would still miss it. So again, I have a very tough time seeing this team make the playoffs. And again, you are relying on 3 rookies. Jonah Tong, Noah McLean, Brandon Sproat are all scheduled to pitch this week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And even if they do make it, they probably play the Dodgers. You're gonna fucking tell me this team's gonna get past the Dodgers right now? I don't see it. I just don't see it. You know, this is what happens when you have 3 separate 7-game losing streaks. This is what happens when you lose 8 in a row in the beginning of September. When you cannot lose any game. When you've made it this close because of how poorly you've played, and then you turn around and lose 8 in a row. It's ridiculous. But a lot of this team has not showed up in September. Let's get that straight. Francisco Alvarez, give it pass. He's playing with one hand, maybe. Starling Marte, below average hitter. Mark Vientos, way below average. Jeff McNeil, way below average. Brandon Nimmo. We need to have a Brandon Nimmo discussion in the offseason because there's some glaring and not so good lights going on the Brandon Nimmo dashboard.
I think out of everyone on this Mets team, Brandon Nimmo may be the guy that needs the Mets to make the postseason and go off in the postseason. I think maybe more than any other Met.
Yeah. Like he has become as average as you can be. And that's with not being able to hit fastballs, which is very concerning. And that's with a drop in bat speed from last year to this year, which is very concerning.
The number one rule of thumb is if you can't hit the fastball, you're not a major league hitter.
Yeah. This season has been a terrible disappointment, no matter how it ends. Even if they squeak into the playoffs, you cannot look at this year and feel good about it. You can feel good about Noah McLean and Brandon Sproat, Jonah Tong, and Brett Beatty. Everyone else, look in the mirror. Because you could talk about all the talent you have in this, talk about that you're close to this and you just need one swing, you just need one pitch. But I've been waiting for the one swing, the one pitch. I've been waiting for the boulder to just finally roll over since June.
It's the Matt Damon gif where he's like, and then just it goes over and he becomes old. Like he aged like 50 years in like 1 second.
Yeah. I'm just at a loss. I'm truly just at a loss for words. This whole team should be embarrassed, quite frankly. They failed multiple times this season. Carlos Mendoza's job should not be safe. And I'm not sure if missing the playoffs will change things, but David Stearns was on record saying that he'll be back. But again, if they miss the playoffs, everything needs to be on the table. And it really fucking sucks because this is where baseball gets emotional for the fans. Pete Alonso and Edwin Diaz are two guys who might not be on the team next year. Edwin Diaz, without a doubt, is opting out. And I will be behooved if David Stearns signs a reliever to a multi-year contract. But everything needs to be on the table. You know, Jeff McNeil has a year and an option left after this year. Brett Beatty showed he could play second base at a decent level. Maybe there's something there. You have Jet Williams, the minors. You have Carson Bench. Excuse me. You have Ryan Clifford, who could play first base. Like, there's going to be a lot of questions in the offseason, and it's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. But look, I said it the other week, I've said it a couple times now. When a team this talented, if a team this many players struggles this much, it's the clubhouse and or the coaching staff. Now, I don't think the clubhouse doesn't get along per se. I truly think this clubhouse is just too complacent. We'll get him tomorrow. We're good. You know, like, pat yourself on the back. Get him tomorrow. Like, hey, you had good at-bats today. Get him tomorrow. No one's getting mad. You know, I'm not saying you need to flip a chair, but no one's flipping a chair. No one is telling that we need to be better. It's kind of like, all right, that sucks. Get him tomorrow. Guess what? You have 6 games left. You have to win tomorrow, the day after that, the day after that, the day after that, the day after that. And guess what? Then you have to win the day after that. And then guess what? If you do, and you somehow make the playoffs, you don't get to line up your pitching. You might not get your best pitcher to start game 1, and then you get to go home after 3 games anyways. Very disappointing. And it's a shame it's come to this. This team was 21 games over 500 at one point. 21 games over 500. They are now just 4. Be tied for the 4th worst record in baseball since the middle of June. So, Justin, I'll ask you one more time. Is this a bad baseball team?
I think it's just a bunch of square pegs trying to go in round holes. Something doesn't mesh. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but
No.
good
100%.
talent, but the pieces just don't work together. And this shouldn't be a conversation we're having about a baseball team. A football team, 100%. A hockey team, sure. A basketball team, sure. But a baseball team, the most individual sport. As long as you don't have guys that, one guy that is a particular something and then someone that hates that particular something, or they are literally fighting each other nonstop, it shouldn't really matter how well the pieces fit as long as they're good enough. But just something, I think you put it right the other day in our text, just something stinks.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is, but
Right.
Something stinks.
The vibes have been off all year. All year.
Now,
and again, I don't know if that's players. I don't know if that's coaching.
Can I give you a counterpoint?
Go for it.
Is that just because the vibes were so immaculately high last year that these may be solid vibes, but they just don't feel as well to you, the fans, and the players that were on the team last year? Because even take a guy like Juan Soto, where he was on a team with immaculate vibes last year, and he goes to a team that had a bunch of guys that may be missing a lot of guys from last year. You know what I mean? It may subconsciously just be missing those guys. So it's a thing of the vibes were so immaculate last year for this team, and then you bring in another I don't say cast of characters, but a bunch completely different roster for the most part.
Yeah.
There's gonna be vibe regression.
Vibe progression.
I may not be
Yeah.
making the most sense, but I think people understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I do. At the very least.
And that's all that matters.
So look, you know what, Justin? 6 games left. What do you think happens?
You know this is going to the last game.
Oh,
You know
in
it's going
true
to.
Mets fashion, somehow, some way, this will come down to Sunday against the Marlins. If they win, they're in. If they lose, they're out.
I truly have no idea. Because it's so hard, because this team is so talented, it should not be in this spot. It just shouldn't.
I agree. I personally do not think they will make it.
If they do, it's going to be off this crazy emotional game on Sunday.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I've watched this team for 3 months just flail and drop dead and then win 8 in a row. And then lose 8 in a row. So I'm going in with no expectations. Unfortunately, my family and I booked a trip to Chicago. So I will be there on Wednesday. And then we're also going to Milwaukee. So I'll get to see the Reds versus the Brewers, which could mean a lot. So, if that being said, we unfortunately will not have an episode next week covering the beginning of the playoffs, whether that's one team or both.
That's why I kind of did a very heavy playoff primer in
Yeah.
first half, but
there's no playoffs to prime here. You got to get there first, and then you got to suck it up with whatever you're handed. So I'm going in with 0 expectations. I think this is going to be an interesting offseason, but we'll have a lot of time for that, so I don't want to get too much into it. But again, it's just, at the end of the day, it's a shame. It sucks. I'm deflated. I just feel defeated. Jacob Young is the second coming of Willie Mays. Again, it's a combination of poor performance, underperformance, and bad luck. They have just narrowed the margin of error to nothing. So they cannot catch a break. So, Justin, closing thoughts on the Mets heading into the last week of the 2025 season.
Those are my thoughts. God.
Yeah,
Who
fair
fucking
enough.
know? Who knows?
Who knows?
Like, it truly is a thing of, at this point, you can't point to numbers. You can't point to this. You can't point to this matchup. You can't play to the back of your baseball card. Just be fucking better. Like, you can't say, oh, if you fix this swing a portion amount, then you could be this much better. No. Just fucking put up numbers. Like, we are both guys that value analytics, value all that. That shit doesn't matter if you don't win. Like, at the end of that stuff's good for a season-long thing for predicting results. But for a week, I don't care how ugly it has to look. You just have to win.
Yeah, find ways to win, right? Apply pressure, which is something they haven't done.
Bunt,
That's
run, even if it's not at that magic 80% number.
Right.
Just make runs. Manufacture it. Yeah. Find bullshit ways pitching. I don't know. Do the rookie of the year 9th inning where he loses the arm and he's throws the eufus. I don't think, but
yeah. Play good baseball. That's what it comes down to. So Mets fans, buckle up, because this team is somehow gonna make you sweat to the end of it, and I hope they do. But they've given me no reason to believe that, unfortunately. So with that being said, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to subscribe. Leave us a comment. Leave us a like. Let us know do you think the Mets are going to make the playoffs? Why? Why not? Who do you think is the best matchup for the Yankees in the wild card round? If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a rating, drop us a review. Let us know you're enjoying the show. Helps us out a ton. As always, follow all social media accounts at Triboro Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, lineups, final scores every single day. Get a bit of a more daily baseball there. So next time we'll be talking playoffs. So we'll see how that shapes up next week. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.